So boys and girls, we're going to talk a little bit more about author's purpose. Now, we have talked about author's purpose many times this school year, and I think we're kind of getting kind of good at author's purpose, don't you think? So who remembers some things about author's purpose that they can tell me? What do you remember about author's purpose? What can you tell me? Rosie, tell me something about author's purpose. Yes, if it's persuade, they're trying to convince you to do something. What else do we know about author's purpose? Claire, what else do we know? It's what? Yes. There can be two purposes. An author can write, there can be more than one purpose. What else? Evelyn? Yes. So an author's purpose is his or her reason for writing a text. And knowing the purpose helps you recognize the author's message, because we want to know, why is the author writing that book? We want to know, right, Ava? And so, here are the three reasons. It's as easy as what, boys and girls? Everyone? Time. So, an author might write to persuade us. And then the author wants readers to think or act in a certain way. The author might write to inform us. Then the author wants to share information about a topic. The author might write to entertain us. And then the author wants readers to enjoy a story. And sometimes the author will combine two of those. Who knows, they could probably even do all three of those. So how can you figure out the author's purpose? Well, here's how we do it. The first thing we do is we think about the genre of the story. So we take a look at the genre. So we should always look at that. Then we ask questions about what you read and we find the answers. So if we are reading something and it's informational text, then why do you think the author wrote that story if it's informational text? Which of these is it, P, I, or E? Informational text. Allison? I. It would be I, to inform, probably. Yes, it would be information. It would be I, inform. Now, if an author wrote a fairy tale, what do you think that would be? Yes. E. E would be to entertain. They just want us to enjoy the story. Now, if an author wrote a book and it was all about the benefits of recycling and how it's good for the environment, and everybody should have a recycling bin at their house, and they should compost their kitchen scraps, which one do you think that would be? Bianca? It would be P, persuade. They would want us to do that, so they're trying to persuade us to do that. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a look at our story. This is your life cycle, and we're going to think about, why did the author write that story? Now, if we remember, that story is, we can kind of look here. Oh, I don't want that like that. But we can look at the genre. And this one has two genres. It is narrative nonfiction and a fantasy. So a narrative nonfiction we know is true information. It's told in a narrative, which means it's told in a story form, and it's also a fantasy. So it's things in this story could not happen the way it's told, but it's also nonfiction. So we have to keep that in the back of our minds as we're trying to figure out what is the purpose of this story, boys and girls. So what I want you to do is I want you to turn to page 20, because what we have to do here is we're going to read the top part of our paper called Author's Purpose. Author's Purpose. Please find that paper, Author's Purpose. And it says, the author's purpose is his or her reason for writing a text. Authors may write to inform, entertain, or persuade the reader. And so it says, answer the questions about page 20 of This Is Your Life Cycle. And so let's listen.
Good evening, larvae, nymphs, and insects. This is Bob Beadle, welcoming you to another episode of This is Your Life Cycle, the show that follows the life cycle of everybody's favorite class of animals, the insects. Each week, we take our cameras to the hot spots of the bug world to follow insects as they begin their lives as eggs, hatch as nymphs or larvae, and molt into fully developed adults. Larvae, insects that have just hatched and haven't yet changed to their adult form, are called larvae. Molt. When insects or other animals molt, they lose their outer covering, such as skin or feathers.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to think about these questions. Yes, do you have a question, Logan?
Bob Beetle was actually my name of my beetle.
Oh, is it Bob Beetle? That's funny. That is funny. That's amazing. Maybe he's out doing game shows in his spare time. Okay. So now, let's think about our text. Let's think about what we have read. Think about what you read last night. And it says, what is the topic of this text? What's the topic of this text? What is this about? What is this text about? Hector? Your hands up.
Stretching.
Well, what is the topic of this text?
Non-fictional?
Yes, it is nonfiction, but what is this all about?
Oh.
I mean, you could,
Dahlia.
what about her?
She has escaped from a lot of predators.
Yes, that is true, she has. But there's more to it than that. What else? Claire?
How the life cycle is?
Yes, the life cycle of an insect. Very good. So let's write that for number 1. The life cycle of an insect. 1. The life cycle of an insect. Now, what is the author's purpose for writing this text? Why did they write this selection or this story? Why did they write this? Bryson, what do you think?
To inform and entertain.
To inform us, and they did entertain us. And what did they want to inform us about? Yes, Santiago? What?
A life cycle?
About a life cycle. They want to give us some information, right? So they want to give us scientific information about this topic. You guys are so right. So to give scientific information about the topic. And now, boys and girls, why does the author set up the text like a TV game show? Why would they do that? Why would they set it up like a TV game show? Ava.
To make it look like it's fun.
To make it like it's more fun. Olivia, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that it would make it more entertaining for the reader.
To make it more entertaining for the reader. What are you going to say, Claire?
Sort of like a later side, but to make it like funner and better for the reader.
Yes. Yes, because that's what an author wants to do. They want to make it so the reader wants to read it, right? If it's all boring, does the reader want to keep reading it? No. You were so right, boys and girls. The author. Okay, so let's say the author wants to give information in a fun, entertaining way. So the author wants to give information in a fun, entertaining way. Yes, so we could say that the author wrote this to inform and to what? What did the author, why did the author write this? Who can tell me? Santiago?
To entertain.
To entertain and to, he wrote it for two reasons, Ava.
Inform.
To inform and to entertain. Inform and entertain. That is why they wrote this story, to inform and to entertain. Why did they write this story?
To inform and to entertain.
Yes, to inform and entertain. Gosh, this was a good story. This is a good story. We're learning, we're being entertained at the same time. That's the best way. Very good. Now, boys and girls, you could put a star on this.